Hello YouTubers, DEFan3D coming at you out here for the Saturday night last week on August 31st of this year. And start out with, congrats to the winners of Steve Anderson Jr. to race 1 in the late model division, and Jacob Gady with his very first late model win of 2024. Like I said, he did not run the entire schedule. He was down at La Crosse in Wisconsin at La Crosse Speedway, came back to Elko. He's still running the championship battle and that, doing quite well for himself this year. But came to Elko, won the second feature. And the second feature, well, man, that bad boy awards are thrown out here. Steve Anderson Jr. in the 50 car, but it all started with that 94 of Hunter Calvel-Payne, who should be ejected for the rest of I think should be ejected from Elko the rest of the season and not even run Thunderstruck 93 on September 21st, which is the next time I'm going to Elko. They are running the 14th of September. I won't make that one, but I'm making the back-to-back, the 21st, and then the weekend following that on the 28th, or something like that, 26th, maybe 27th, championship night. I'll make it for both. So, but, yeah, just absolutely uncalled for. I was super mad. I even cried after the effect of the wreck, talking to Conrad Peterson. I wasn't able to talk to Tommy because he was in the back of the ambulance. I'll get to that in a bit. But it was emotional for me because I also talked to Ryan Camish off camera, helped put a sticker on their car above the windshield banner. Did a great job helping them out with that. And it just, I grew up with Ryan Camish a lot and see him come up through the ranks at Elko a bit. And but definitely remember every late model he ran up until this point in the 42 ride, and just, yeah, totally uncalled for. And even Jeremy Wolf, that was, ooh, I mean, that one I'm sentimental about because he lives in Chaska. When I lived in downtown Chaska before I moved to Waconia now, I would bike to Jeremy Wolf's house and hang out with him, and I did work on his car a bit in his garage, either his late model or his Thunder car, which he was running a lot at the time. And then when he got the late model, I helped him out with it as much as I could and where he wanted me to. So it just, really, really makes me mad. And so in a way, it's mixed for me. I'm glad I got that recorded on my channel. But in a way, I just really wish that didn't even happen. And I've seen wrecks at Elko before, similar to this one. But it's been a long time since I've seen two cars and one up on the retaining wall sliding like that. And they were even connected on one tow truck line. And it took them about 15 minutes to take them apart, which was just nuts. And then recording them coming off of the track by the exit and entrance gate off of turn 2. I needed to get that out. I've seen that a few people have seen that video. If you haven't seen the video of them taking the cars off of the track on tow trucks, check that out, because that's seeing the damage, that gives you an idea just how hard the impact was. And how hard the impact was, that impact made Tommy Peterson break his sternum. And he is fine now. He's better. That could have been a fatal accident. I could have easily well had recorded. I'm glad it was not, but it was borderline and very, very close, and just a hair close. Like, that's a fine line close right there. So that really makes me mad. And I'm not gonna, I have interviewed Hunter Calvel-Payne in the past. I'm gonna stay away from the 94 car for the rest of the season. I really won't get a whole lot of love into that team, probably until next season when we go into it, then, because it's a new slate, new season, a new clean page in the book, you want to say, for Elko in 2025. So if the 94 car is there next year, I will then get back to having those guys. But if they are still running or still unable to run at Elko the rest of the season, I'm staying away from that Corvette late model. Hunter did tell me that the car will be at Thunderstruck for the ASA Midwest Tour event. I don't think those ASA Midwest Tour officials would take that kind-heartedly if he was to drive into these cars like he did the 99 and 42 and the 50 car to get these guys all jacked up. Even the 32 incident, if he starts dooring people like that, and look at his car. It's if you haven't known what I'm talking about with the 94 car, take a look how badly this car looks because it's mismatched fenders. It's a Chevy Corvette decals on the front of his Chevy Monte Carlo late model, which is kind of interesting to see a Corvette decal stickers on it. But it's all scuffed up and it's got a mismatched fender. It's white with black on the right side, and everything's just completely roughed up. And all these rest of these guys, they have really clean, shiny cars, so they do not need to be looking like the 94 constantly. So just a fair warning to the 94 team, if you guys do plan to run the ASA Midwest Tour event, don't drive like you did last Saturday night on the 31st of August, because I would really like to see some protocols being enforced by that very heavily. So I'm trying to get a hold of contact of Tim Olson. I'm not just the only one that's done that. I have his cell phone number on my phone. I've been texting him a little bit. He hasn't been back to me yet, but I think it makes sense probably because everybody else is asking him the same questions, but he's pretty much giving us the cold shoulder. I'm going to try maybe text him a little bit later this week. Before Thundershook 93, I'll probably do it again just to see what's up and maybe going forward from that. But heck of a nice guy Tim Olson is. We're just all really ticked off that this all happened and it transpired on the 31st of August. That's another controversial video I shot this year, just like and it brought me right back to where I recorded at the Carver County Fair for that controversial call. So now the back half of August to September is all about controversy, and it's like, man, this is, who would have thunk this, right? So, but other than that, just super uncalled for by the 94 team, and then the 50 Steve Anderson Jr. I mean, congrats on your second feature win of the year, but that was some really bad contact. And I even talked to Conrad Peterson. These guys have been problems since a little bit of April this year, and it's been going on for a while for the 94 team, and it just that there's things come to a point where this just needs to stop. And these guys pay these cars out of their own pocket at Elko. They have to buy the tires at Elko. They have to buy the gas at Elko. They can't be using their other stuff and burning this, or you have to use the stuff that's acquired at this track. Tom Ryan enforced those rules a few years ago, so that's what the protocol plan is for that, for the track owner. And so yeah, so giving that said, you're doing this out of your own pocket. This is not NASCAR where you can just be like, yeah, we rub fenders and we can build a new car. No, you do this all by yourself. And this track's like a little. These cars are like little engine teams that could, and you really have to be smart about how you go about doing stuff at this track. So if you want to be a jackass and drive into people like that, that's really uncalled for. I mean, it makes great content for my YouTube channel, which is true. The downside effect is then thinking big picture, which is why I'm actually glad I'm not a race car driver. I wanted to be a long time ago. Then when I kind of saw what was going down and then thinking about dollar signs, if I were to put a car together for a late model series, I would make it a show car. Not driving it at all. I'd just show it off and sign autographs by it and smoosh up with it, and that would be me. I could not, no. That's why I'm glad I'm playing a PlayStation 2 game system. That's easy, because all that's virtual, and you can bang that car up, and then you can repair it up like that. These guys do not have the luxury, and there's no reset button. So there's a plus effect of being a video game driver and even an iRacing driver like myself than an actual one with doing the actual stuff and then dealing with jackasses all around you with no reset button. That's frustrating as hell. And so I give these guys a lot of credit. Some teams I give a little bit more love than others, just like the 50 and the 94. I mean, I love the ASA history that those guys built up, like Steve Anderson and Paul Payne. But Paul Payne, you still had the same temper. He spun out Kevin Sawinski at Elko in 2002 in the ASA event. And Kevin came right back to spin out the 94 Pontiac in his 2002 ASA Monte Carlo. And I love that. And that's what needed to have happen. Now, I talked to Jeremy Wolf yesterday about this. And he told me, he said, yeah, we do have a little bit of donut mark on our door. I did feel the contact pretty good. We are still working on the 32 car, but it's getting better and it should be fine. But he said that should have been, he says in the 94 and the 50 shouldn't run the rest of the season, and I agree with that. So it's cool to talk to Jeremy Wolf off camera and on my phone, which is really cool. So, but it's good to see his point of view of this. But I told him, I said, I really am sentimental towards you. You are one of my top 25 to 50 favorite Elko drivers, given your history. And I just really wish this didn't happen. It did. I know it made good content for my channel, but I'm actually sick to my stomach that I recorded that. And he gladly loved hearing that gesture from me. So, I'm glad you guys like the garage interviews. I'm going to continue that still for the ones that I got going at Elko. Then I'm going to bring my channel to La Crosse again for Oktoberfest on Saturday. I won't be there Sunday for the ASA Midwest Tour event. However, there's a loophole. This is the cool part. The ASA Midwest Tour cars will be there to practice and qualify, so I won't see the race, but I'll record practice and I'll record all the qualifying at single car qualifying, which is really cool. That's old school. So I'm looking forward to doing that in that perch box they have in the infield. So I'm going to do that. And it'll be cool then to talk to the whole field of the ARCA or ASA Midwest Tour drivers that are there. And I still refer to the ARCA Midwest Tour because it was around a lot. And I haven't talked about ASAs for me personally off camera since 2012. Way before this channel came out in 2017 when I was still with the ARCA Midwest Tour, but now with ASA being back and so getting kind of fresh and new with it. They did change the logo around. I wish they was going to bring it back, the logo that looked like this right here, because that's a better ASA logo to me. That's the one I grew up with. So, but anyway, Donnie Reavers moved down to 13th. A spot behind him is in, then there's a car behind Donnie, then in 15th it's the 75 of Joel Tyson. So they're doing pretty good this year. Jeremy Wolf's looking pretty consistent. Now Ryan Camish in the 42. I talked to him a little bit after the wreck in the incident. He said that this is cosmetic. He's like, yeah, the car's pretty bent to hell, but the chassis is fine. The straight rail left-hander chassis is good, so they're just going to take the body off, do whatever, and then they're going to throw a new one on, and he'll be back running. The new wheel is questionable. Now, however, the 99 of Tommy Peterson, they are done for the year. If you haven't seen the 99 car yet, go watch the video where they take the cars off of the track when it's called The Aftermath. Watch the Aftermath video, and you'll see the 99 car. It is bad. And I even looked at the wheel. If you look at the hub of where the tire is on, that is bent. And that I've never seen a tire hub bent like that, where the tire sits on for that hubcap and that hub that's on. That that's a hell of a hit when you hit and then you bent that thing. So yeah, that's how hard of an impact it was, and it still takes my breath away. It's just holy shit, and it's just not good. And so Conrad told me, he's like, I'm gonna treat the body like the Dale Earnhardt 2001 Last Ride. He's gonna take the body off. He's gonna put up in his rafters, and it's pretty much not gonna see the light of day. However, he might, because the hood is really badass with the screaming chicken on it, or I like to call it the Thunderhawk for the Trans Am Firebird logo. I like to see it. He's down the line, he might just hang that in his garage, but the rest of the stuff he's gonna hold on to. So yeah, just like Richard Torres has the 2001 Last Ride car in a shed that's pretty small, but it's under lock and key and it's fenced off with another lock and key. So it's pretty much nobody is. Richard knows that it's there, but he doesn't really go and check it out a whole lot, given the fact what happened in the aftermath of that race, just as much as this one. But Tommy is fine though, so that's good. But they're gonna have to redo the whole left-hander chassis, and they're going to strain that all out. Then they're going to order a new body. They have to put all the decals back on, so they'll be out for next year. And so that's the plan of attack for the 99. Future for Steve Anderson Jr. He is good. But Hunter Payne, though, they did kick him out after he hit the 32. You see him driving the intersection of the figure 8 interchange there, and then he drove back out. So they did kick him out for that towards the end of the second feature. But I would say the 94 probably will still be there. It's questionable though for him even to be there for me, and I'm just going to stay away from that controversy car. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And so yeah. Other than that, moving forward, hopefully, if this happens again, it might, although for like wrecks like that, it does happen, but to actually go out of your way to create one, that's not good. And I mean, I've seen some other hits. Joel Tyson comes to mind in 2022 when I got his left side door of his car with Steve Anderson Jr. as well. And so yeah, he's just been that 50 car in the 94 has kind of been a nuisance now for the past few years. And it's just for these guys to be doing this on their own pocket, it just gotta stop. Because it makes, I mean, yeah, when I was younger, I loved seeing like, yeah, go wreck these guys. But now thinking big picture, don't be doing this at a local track. I know that wrecks happen because of just going for a spot, but if you're doing it out of retaliation, that's bad. So yeah, just no. So other than that, I'll just kind of see what happens, go from there. Still like to maybe hear you guys comments on what you guys think of the videos and this controversy calls that you saw in the videos, because I am still livid and I'm still kind of emotional about it a bit, because for how much I care about a lot of these guys. And people ask me sometimes too in the past, like, who's your favorite driver, and I said I'll give you about 50 names. So it's tough to watch this one, and I do go back and revisit older videos, and if I ever do and go back and see the footage of this one, it'd still probably make me feel mad and sad. And so yeah, so it's just it's not good. So, but hopefully you guys enjoy the content just as much as I do, and looking forward to some of your comments. But Ryan Varner with a nice job though on the 31 car. He's looking good. I did wax that car down too off camera, and I was really glad that car wasn't not any involvement of that, because that would have just killed me even worse than I already am now. So yep. But other than that, thanks for the subscribers. I see that I'm at 357, so that's pretty cool right there. I'm getting closer to 400, and I just it's pretty big. So that's huge. And when I get to 500, I'm looking forward to that, because that means I'm halfway to 1,000, and that's big for me, and that's gonna be cool. So I'm really wanting to see that. And a shout out to Racing Empire Charlie. I talked to you a little bit that night, and it was pretty crazy for both of us, and you shot some good content. I checked out your channel videos a lot too, so nice job, Empire Racing. And or Empire Motorsports for what you call it. So it's pretty awesome. But so yeah, so it's pretty good. If he gives me a shout out on his channel, I asked him if he could. So we'll see if he does that. But I definitely shout him out more times than not. And another shout out to my channel sponsors, Coleman Racing Products out of Menominee, Michigan, and of course Brass Pro Shops. And those guys give me some pretty sweet gear. So it's pretty awesome, and looking forward to the 21st at Thunderstruck for Dan Ryan's memorial event for ALS, a race worth winning for Lou Gehrig's disease. So that's a big one. That to me is like our Daytona 500 of Elko, and then championship night. So, and Jake Ryan, Dan Ryan's son, is looking really good this year. I did mention the points system, but he's like, don't talk points until championship night. So we'll do. And for Thunderstruck, when I interviewed Jake, so I won't talk points, but let's talk about your dad, because he's a big reason why Elko is why it is out here for us, because it's the best track. You see some best racing in the Midwest, and the best racing you do get to see is at Elko Speedway. But for how many years now, we're not sure, because of the lottery system this track is in, and the longevity of this track could be 3, 5 to 10 years. Before it turns out to be a state park speedway, a Rockford, a Minnesota State Fair Speedway, a Raceway Park, and an I-94 Raceway Sauk Center track going away. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with that longevity. But as much as I got time for at Elko for that one moment, I talked Jake Ryan to interview and just talk about his history, about his dad driving that 39 and 93 car from back in the day before he succumbed to his disease in 2009 and started in 2005. And it was really interesting, though. It was fun to see Dan at a lot of these tracks, even Raceway Park. Jake won in 2005 and 2004. And or it was 2005 for sure that year, and Dan was there in a wheelchair. And then in 2008, the last time I saw Jake win a big race was the ASMO's Tour event, and his dad was there, but in an upright wheelchair by that point, and he talked. And I remember, from what I do recall from that race, and that in the interview with Dan Ryan, I can only make out about 5 to 6 words, and that really shocked all of us. And but we were, every fan, every driver was all behind Dan, what he was going through with that. And he actually, and the ironic thing too is that the reason why I attracted or got a love to Dan Ryan was because of his font number. He ran with the 93 font, and it was the same font, the style that Dale Earnhardt had in his car. And the ironic thing and sad thing is they both left this world at 49 years old. So it's like, man, how ironic is that? And but Dan was a big AC/DC fan, so that's why we call this Thunderstruck 93 Thunderstruck, because of AC/DC, and then his awesome kick-ass car number 93. So he did run 39. He actually started a little bit of history now for Dan Ryan. He started with car number 9, what I've seen from older photos. And then he had 39 for a while, and Sportsman, which is now what's called Hobby Stock and now Thunder Car, but back in the day it was Sportsman. So it was the same style they used to call the Busch Series, funny enough. But yeah, so it's it was the Sportsman Series back in the day. And he had 39, and then he had, when he went to the late model division in 1995, it was a silver 39 Monte Carlo. His Sportsman Monte Carlo was the same silver style, and he had a different driver running it. But they got rid of that car. He ran the late model for a while, and I believe another team came in at Elko with 39 on their car as well for 1990, in the beginning of the 1998 season. So Dan, he lived pretty close to the track, from what I've heard from people telling me this. He drove home before, because they all went to the track at the same time a little bit, and Dan was usually the first one there, and then a few other guys would start rolling in, and they noticed that at Elko, there was 239 cars. And back in those days, you could run double digits, but I guess so they're just based upon like who you talk to. They really don't like doing that, so if they could change their numbers. And so Dan drove home, back to his place, grabbed his decal sheet out, ripped both door numbers off, and then cleaned it, wiped off the gunk off of it, and swapped the numbers to 93, and then drove back to Elko and ran that opener, and he kept 93 until he stopped racing in 2000, after the 2002 season, and then just had Jake run the 19 car, and Jake was coming up in the race. He was running big A late models in 2002, and so that was pretty sweet. And it's the same body style as the Super. The thing about a big A late model has, of course, a big 8 engine and then a smaller tire. The Supers have a crate engine with slick racing tires, and there's tread on the big A late model cars, so that's what Jake was running. That's what the Advanced Auto Parts series is at Elko. They're all big A late models. Some of them just advertise it a little bit different, and then of course when they run lacrosse, they bring the decal to the track. But I've looked at these cars 6 ways a Sunday to understand now what's a late model, what's a big 8. But back then I didn't know that until now, but that's what it was at the time, and so it was really cool. And but yeah, and so then it just escalated to that. But then Dan would always be at the track though, and even too during and before his disease kicked in, every time that they would run at Elko, the last person to always leave the track was Dan Ryan with his race car, whether it be 939 or 93. And that's pretty cool to hear, and that's pretty sweet. So that would totally, I would love to do that too for myself. And the latest I ever stayed at Elko was, of course, 10 years ago for Thunderstruck at 1:30 in the morning at the longest race of the night for Thunderstruck 93 in 2014, which was Thunderstruck for Dan Ryan. So we all were all like a Dan Ryan that night, which is pretty cool. So for a minute I felt his spirit through the air that night a lot. So it's pretty cool. So, but I ever see Jake, I feel like I'm just hanging out with his dad too at the same time, which is pretty awesome. So I'm very sentimental to Jake the Snake Ryan, and he's looking really darn good in that 19. Same for Chad Wallen, pretty close in second in points. But it's very competitive this year for that standing. So nice job for that. Just stay away from controversy. So, but glad you guys are along with this. Whatever I record, you guys see and reflect on. So, but I'll tell you what, this is really, really weird, and it put me in a bad spot to record. But I definitely needed to do that, and I'm glad I still recorded that wreck video, because I needed to make darn sure what car number was what and who was involved. So I'll still continue that. My camera will not get shut off until I exactly know who's in what car and what the car number is, and so that'll be good. So I'm just like a TV analyst too, which is pretty sweet. So, but see you guys on the 21st for Thunderstruck 93 at Elko Speedway.